This is Sebastian from the Metal Gods Meltdown, and I'm joined by
Toschie from Audrey Horne.
Congratulations on your new album, Devil's Bell. It really does rock your soul, and it's exactly what we need these days of uncertainty. How important for you?
Thank you.
How important is it for you that we keep this kind of music alive and keeps our spirits up?
I think it's very important. I think in all times of distress of any kind, music has always been important. It's sort of it's sort of first of all, it's sort of a common language that sort of binds people together, whether you're in England or in Greece or in Norway or wherever. And also, it's like, to me, it's like, it's to most people who listens to music, it's something that sort of can cheer you up, and it can keep you basically going on a bad days. I think music is very important, and I think especially like for me during the lockdown, I bought shitloads of albums because it's been a lot of time spent at home. I have a family, so I have company. I have people I love around me. But I spend a lot of time listening to albums because it's just something that keeps my spirit up, basically. So I think, and for us to make an album during this period was quite different, but very good for us as a band to do it.
Yeah, honestly,
during
it really is a positive album. I love it. This is a cheeky question, right? So Return to the Grey Valley is really immense. Obviously, it's an instrumental. Is that to give you a breather when you're on stage, just so you can go backstage and get a pint or something?
Yeah, I'm like this close to being like David Coverdale and go backstage and like have an oxygen mask. And no, it was basically because when we made this album, we sort of, before we started writing for this album in general, we talked a lot about what we wanted to do, because we were kind of forced to do it quite different from what we normally do, because there was a long time where we couldn't hang out together. We couldn't, get together and play music. So we were sort of forced to do it in a different way. So we talked a lot about what we wanted to do. And one of the things that we sort of all agreed on was that let's make an album where we focus on what our strength, basically, because, the grass is greener idea has always appealed to us. We've always been sort of wanting to try something that direction and something that direction. But on this one, we sort of sat down and said, okay, what are we good at? And we figured that we're good at writing songs, we think, like melodies. But like the twin guitar thing between Arva and Thomas is also sort of one of our strengths. So we decided to sort of focus a bit more on that and focus a bit more on, in each melody, that the instrumental parts in each song could get more focus, which led to a bit longer instrumental parts in a lot of the songs. But also we sort of, when they wrote, because Arv and Thomas got together, it was one of the last songs we wrote actually for the album, and they got together and wrote Return to Grey Valley, and they were working on it, and they sent me a video of them playing it together. They hadn't finished the songs. They were reading like half of it, I guess. And they said, well, maybe you could sort of come up with some melody lines on this. And if you don't, maybe we could sort of try to do something instrumental out of it. And I listened to what they had, and I was like, I don't see any reason for me to sing on this, because it sounds really good as an instrumental song, and it's something we've done before. We never even thought about doing something instrumental, but on this album, it felt natural to do something like that. So So I didn't even try. So just work on it as an instrumental. But of course, I can drink beer and hang out backstage, or when they play that live. So it's
Yeah.
a that's a perk.
That's definitely a perk.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. So what does the year bring for you guys, tour and festival wise? I mean, obviously everyone's going to be out hitting the road, aren't they? So it's going to be difficult. But have you got
It's going to be
planned?
No, what we got, we have loads of plans from like late in the summer and during the fall, really. But this summer is fucking hard because like the summer of 2020 was when we were meant to sort of write and record this album, but of course that didn't happen because of the lockdown and got postponed for us. So we didn't have any festivals that summer, and of course the festival summer of 2020 was moved to 21 and now to 22, and some has even 23. So it's fucking hard to get into any festival these days because like they were booked like 2 years ago already. So we'll do some shows and then like towards the end of the summer we'll start touring properly,
Right. Are the plans hopefully to try and get over to the UK at some stage, or is that a bit up in the air?
No. That's definitely something that's on the table. We're sort of in the middle of making some changes in our organization, to put it that way. So we'll see what happens when we start sort of when that change is sort of in place and yeah. So there'll be some fresh blood in our organization, and hopefully that will sort of make some changes, because it's been too long since we were in the UK. To be honest,
Yeah.
I don't even know when it was. Too long.
Yeah, man. Okay, so I'm going to ask you then, if you could go on tour with any three bands, which would you choose? I think you should be playing with Guns N' Roses at White Hart Lane in London, personally.
Yeah, that would be nice. Any bands? I don't know. I think we could fit in. The good thing about Audrey Horne is that we can fit in with quite a lot of bands, really, because we're not sort of, I don't know, we're not extreme in any directions. So we can sort of, but of course, the best thing would be to do something that is sort of within our universe of music. It's like Guns N' Roses would be definitely cool to tour with, but it could be. It doesn't have to be a band as big as that necessarily. But we're doing a show in a month or so with Volbeat, which is probably going to be good because I think people who like Volbeat is going to be into our music as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah, Guns N' Roses would have been good. Yeah, I agree on that one.
Tickets are fucking expensive, though. I'm not going too expensive. Okay, if one of the songs from Devil's Bell could be featured on a TV series or film, which one would you choose?
Depends on the TV series or film, I guess. But I don't know. I think I like my. I think a song like "Animal" would fit like a movie with like a bit of action and so on in it. But like my favorite songs on the album personally is definitely the opening track and the closing track. Those are my personal favorites, and I think yeah, maybe "From Darkness" would be good for something like that, but it's a bit long. So, but that's, I guess, yeah.
Is it like becoming increasingly hard then, obviously, when you go out on your own headline shows and that to set up a set list? Because I mean, you've got quite a lot of albums under your belt now, so will you just be choosing 2 or 3 songs from Devil's Bell, or that's the Devil's Bell?
probably like every time we sort of release an album, we sort of try to, well, at least for the first tour, after an album has released, we sort of try to play as much as possible from the new record, but you know, you have to sort of put in loads of old songs as well. But on this album there are 9 songs, so hopefully, you know, you could put in maybe 5 new songs, but you know, because basically because we love playing it. And I think if people, I think people who come to our show are not necessarily like, I'm here to hear that song and that song and that song and that, you know, if I get that, I'm happy, you know. Then I think most people at our show doesn't care that much what we play, as you know, because it's sort of more the atmosphere and the whole thing around the show. But to us, it's all, of course, for a band, it's always cool to play new songs. So I always thought about that. Like if you're a band like say Guns N' Roses or Iron Maiden or AC/DC, if you put on a new album, sort of most people who are there, they would be happy if you didn't play any songs from the new album. You know, they'd be happy with like the classic hits. You know, so I always thought that it must be a bit depressing to go out, make a new album, you go out and you end up playing like 1 or 2 songs from your new album, and the rest is like old as gold. So but for us, you know, we don't have sort of that huge audience, and so we have the freedom to play more what we want to play, and we don't have like a bunch of number 1 hits you have to play, you know. Which for us is a good thing, you know.
That's plus, I guess. So what would you say has been your biggest accomplishment in music so far, or is it yet to happen?
So sorry, what would
you say has been your biggest accomplishment in music so far, or is it yet to happen?
It's probably yet to happen, hopefully. but no, I think, I mean, to be honest, I look at it this way. When I was a kid, all I wanted to do was be in a band, and I've been lucky enough to be in a band that could tour and release a number of records and play huge festivals and play small, brilliant festivals, that have toured with a lot of amazing bands and met so many wonderful people. And so basically, to be honest, that's the biggest achievement. Basically, that, you know, I've accomplished everything I dreamed of as a kid, you know, apart from, you know, being the biggest band in the world. But that was something you want to be when you're a kid. And then you sort of, as you sort of make a career as an artist, you realize that there's things that are more important than being the biggest band in the world. Being the biggest band in the world is probably has a lot of downsides that are pretty rough, I guess. So that's our biggest accomplishment, is basically that we've lived the dream, to put it that way, you know. Even though it hasn't made us extremely famous, or it hasn't made us rich or anything, but you know, we've been able to do this in this band now for 20 years, you know, and I've been in bands before that. So and just to be able to do this and live that life is sort of the accomplishment that I appreciate, you know. And then there's a bunch of like other stuff, you know. You win some awards, play some great shows, you know, you get to tour with amazing bands, but in general, it's the whole thing, you know. It's the fact that we're able to do this.
Brilliant. That's a great answer, mate, honestly. And 20 years is some achievement, really, isn't it? Especially these days.
It is.
It is. It really is, mate. And the album's fantastic. and it sounds fresh. So that's what you want. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know? Okay, nearly at the end now. Can you just complete this sentence for me? Everybody needs Audrey Horne in their lives because
why the hell would they need us? Well, they need Audrey Horne in their lives because it's honest music, and it's music that sort of I don't know. It's uplifting music. It's heavy, and it can be a bit dark, but it's always sort of. I think we basically make hard rock that puts a smile on your face, even though some songs are darker than the others. It's basically just we make music that should make people drive their car just a little bit faster and they're like one extra beer and you know, that kind of thing, which is good because there's like lately, because I always read the news and always keep updated on what's happening in the world. I wake up in the morning, news, coffee, but lately sort of had this, I needed a break, you know. I need to stay on top of things and know what's going on in the world because everyone should sort of do that. But lately I've sort of had this thing where I wake up and you know what, I'm gonna listen to some music. Because you need a break from it all, because you know, with everything that's going on, I'm not saying things are worse now than it been before. It's always been shitty, but I guess the information flow is so fast, and so, you know, you get everything, you know, from the tiniest little corner in the world. You get the news and the information this fast, and good news doesn't sell, you know. It's the shit that sells, basically. So I think, you know, to make music, people need sort of to ventilate, and people need a break from all of that, and we make music that sort of gives you a break from that. It's not escapism music to that point, but it's music that sort of says that, you know, you can take a break and you can just enjoy things, which is what like a good concert is all about. You know, you go in there and then you forget about everything. You know, I've had periods in my life where I've had, like, you know, a difficult relationship or whatever, and those things can sort of grind in your head all day. But every time I went to rehearsal, I would go in there and I would go out like 3 hours later, and I would realize that I haven't thought about my problems for 3 hours because I've been music and just enjoying that. And there's the same thing with, you can have the same thing by just listening to music or going to a concert, and you can say that well, it's escapism, and it's like, it's not brain surgery, and it's not saving the world, but it's important to sort of take a break from things sometimes, and just have a breather and enjoy your life, basically. And I think that's why people would need Audrey Horne in their lives, I think. And so, yeah.
Okay, that's great. Thanks so much for your time this evening. Do you have any final words for your fans, our listeners and viewers?
Yeah, you know, hopefully we'll get back to UK as soon as possible. It's been, like I said, too long, and because every time we've been there, we had an amazing time. You know, England has always been, like, if you live in Norway, you know, growing up in Norway, it's, you know, we grew up with England being everything that was cool. You know, we listened to English bands, and if you look at the hard rock in America, most of it comes from English music. You know, it came from Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath and Deep Purple and Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. You know, all the brilliant music came from England. So And in Norway, most people, I don't care about football, but most people in Norway are like always they care a lot more about English football than Norwegian football, So England is always cultural, golden land for us. So for many reasons, we would love to come back to England, but most of all because it's been too fucking long. So we need to get our asses back there now.
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you for your time. Have a good rest of the evening. I'm off to the pub. All right, mate. Thank you for that. I'll chat again.
All right.
Take care. See you later, mate. Bye.